a painkiller. And if you didn't already catch on, my presentation topic will be about health and medicine. So now I'll go through what I'm mainly going to touch. Firstly, I'm going to talk about science in healthcare and medicine, penicillin, how science has already helped us in terms of health, and cancer. And these are the subtopics. So science is the basis of healthcare and medicine. Without science, there would be no research and no medicine. Science is knowledge. This knowledge is discovered by experimentation and lots of research. Let's take penicillin, the first antibiotic discovered. It was discovered in 1928. Excuse the typo over there. It was discovered in 1928 by the bacteriologist Alexander Fleming. However, the thing is, it was only made a medicine by the biochemist Ernst Chain, Australian pathologist Sir Howard Florey, and some other scientists. So, penicillin kills bacteria and inhibits its growth by inhibiting the enzyme, which is called transpeptidase, that is essential for bacterial cell wall rigidity and is used to kill a wide range of disease-bearing microorganisms. However, there are some bacterial strands that resist penicillin. Some common examples are this one here, which is staphylococci, and this capsule-like thing here, which is called enterococci. The way staphylococci works is it inhibits the penicillin and resists the action of it, basically. So some people call Alexander Fleming's discovery the beginning of a new era of medicine. Because before this, did you know that to cure diseases, what people did was they just took herbs and hoped it will work? Doesn't that sound crazy? This is really bad to an extent that some people even died from fevers, especially high fevers where the brain can be damaged. So next, I'll be talking about how science has helped us already. By looking at this chart, it shows that the rate of deaths caused by diseases is significantly going down throughout these recent years. So as time goes by, more and more research and technology has been invented, and with that, the general health of the people have been comparatively better than the past. These statistics are taken from the CDC, one of the major operating components of the Department of Health and Human Service. This reduction in deaths is most likely due to advancement in science and even general awareness. For example, I'll take diseases of the heart. A lot of people these days know that it's caused by lack of exercise, a lot of fats. So what people do is they take actions against it. They try to keep their hearts healthy, and they limit and do exercise and those kind of things to prevent these heart diseases. In addition, deaths by food shortages and starvation are also reduced because of support from other countries, and as Miro rightly said, deaths from polluted water is also reduced because of more modern filtration systems. So, these are some of the diseases that science has cured. The three are polio, which is this one here, it's a bone deformity, smallpox, which is this one. It looks like chickenpox. Well, maybe that's why it's called smallpox. And this one here. This one is actually malaria. It hasn't been completely cured or eradicated from the earth, but a scientist named Tu Yu has invented a cure for this, and it's still under testing. So we can't really say it's completely eradicated, but aren't you glad that polio and smallpox don't exist anymore? Okay, now for some statistics on polio and smallpox. This graph shows the number of deaths by polio. As we can see, in around 1953 here, it is the maximum deaths that happened, which is around an estimate of actually 3,200 deaths in the UK alone. Isn't that a lot of people? Well, you might not think so now, but think back at that time when the population wasn't as large. And this is the statistics for the deaths caused by smallpox. So the maximum number of deaths recorded by smallpox is an estimate of up to 6,500 deaths in the UK. But now, because these diseases are eradicated, there are no deaths at all. Another disease that has caused a lot of deaths is something we all know, cancer. We hear a lot about cancer, but do you really know what cancer is? Well, as this annotation so rightly says, cancer is caused by the uncontrollable division of cells. So, statistics show that it accounts for 1 in 4 deaths, similar to the number of deaths caused by strokes and coronary heart disease combined. It's not just alone, but combined. This large number of deaths are most likely due to the fact that there are 200 different types of cancer, ranging from lung cancer all the way to prostate cancer. And even though the number of different types of cancers is large, they're all caused by one similar reason, which is uncontrollable growth of cells. So let's look at the differences between cancer cells and regular cells. Normal cells grow, divide to make new cells in an orderly way, and they die in an orderly way too. However, in cancer cells, they keep growing and growing and never stop. During the early years of a person's life, normal cells grow faster to allow the person to grow. After the person becomes an adult, most cells divide only to replace worn-out cells, or dying cells, or to repair injuries. However, cancer cell growth is different from normal cell growth. Instead of dying, cancer cells continue to grow and form new abnormal cells. Cancer cells can also invade or grow into other tissues, which is another thing that normal cells can't do. And growing out of control and invading other tissues are what makes it a cancer cell. Cells become cancerous due to the fact that their DNA is possibly damaged. DNA in every cell directs all the actions. In a normal cell, when DNA is damaged, the cell will repair or destroy the DNA molecule. However, in cancer cells, damaged DNA doesn't die like in normal cells, but instead, it keeps multiplying. See, there's like this similar thing for cancer. Where normal cells die, DNA cells keep replicating over and over again. And these cells are cells that the body doesn't need. Normally, this faulty DNA is inherited. or sometimes caused by different things like radiation, cigarette smoke, or inheritance, basically. So next, I'll be talking about tumors. Tumors is the result of this abnormal growth of cells. So basically, there are two types of tumors: benign tumors and malignant tumors. Benign tumors are mostly harmless unless it grows on your nerves. And not figuratively, sometimes tumors can actually grow on your nerves. And the other type is malignant tumors. These tumors are believed to cause cancers. So after this, I'll be talking about the diagnosis. There are two simple ways, no, not really simple, two different ways, excuse me, which are CT scan or testing the lump. What CT scan does is a person basically scans the body to detect the cancerous cells. And when testing the lump, a piece of tissue is extracted so that it can be tested for cancer cells. And lastly, I'll be talking about the most common treatments of cancer. Treatments include surgery, chemotherapy, and a new method called targeted therapy. So surgery is simple. Basically, they cut up the cancerous area and extract the lump, and basically it's the most effective way. And the other two, which is chemotherapy and targeted therapy, are more towards the use of drugs. And that is all for me. To conclude, I would like to say thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope I could get my message across. Thank you.
To say a word, to comment.
Okay, I'm going to make maybe a few comments because I think it might be unfair to ask you some questions, and I don't want to ask you the finer details of the content of the talk. But so clearly you're going to head in the direction of medicine and become a doctor because you show that interest and that enthusiasm. Oncologist, okay. That's very interesting. Maybe I shouldn't be saying what I meant to say now. But one of the things about presenting this kind of talk is that I believe that everyone here, and at least 90% of the people, are convinced with what you're telling them. They think that medicine and the way that we deal with it in society is a great thing. I would have liked to have seen the other side of the picture, because I think at the moment in parts of the world, in the US, there's a very strong movement to anti-medicine, in fact using the poll that you showed me at the beginning. Because these medicines and patented pills have a dramatic effect on one's body.
Yes, the same.
And I would have liked to have seen you balance those two things up, the good side and the bad side of medicine. And it is becoming such a strong movement that people believe that medicine is becoming really limited in only treating symptoms and not ever finding the cause. For example, the cause of cancer, they would treat the cancer cells, but not look for the cause, which is usually inflammation, which is caused by many things, including the kinds of foods that people eat.
Yes.
So anyway, I'll probably stop there. But it would be a nice discussion point in your presentation to say, you know, that these are the bad things about medicine. But if you're going to become a doctor, then you're not going to look at a doctor.
Thank you, Alex, for your talk. You did give me a good idea about what to ask actually. About the bad side of medicine.
Yes.
You know, when pharmaceutical companies actually make the medicine, you can't just give it straight to patients. You have to test it. What are your thoughts on testing medicine, especially on testing on animal testing? What are your thoughts on that?
As far animal testing, I'm not really sure, because when they come up with a vaccine, they normally would be quite sure that it would work. So that's why they go to the stage of testing it. Am I right?
They're not sure that it will work.
Yes.
There are some.
But there's still the possibility. That's why they resort to testing.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, animal testing isn't too wrong. Even though it's still considered wrong in some aspects, the result, if they prove that the vaccine would work, could cure thousands of lives. But if they, per se, find out that the vaccine doesn't work, it's a safer way than to put people at risk. That is my opinion.
Okay. I've got a very general, one comment and one question related. The comment first is that it would be good at the end of your presentation to have some kind of conclusion or overview of what you're talking about. It kind of ended a bit abruptly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted by this. I'll continue. So the other thing is, I was expecting you to talk a little bit more about how science is going to help save the world now. You went through and told the kind of success stories and said several things that it has done, but you didn't really touch so much upon what's being developed now and what the new research in different areas are. I wonder if you could comment on that maybe from your background reading.
From my background reading, I've heard that a lot of new vaccines are being created. Like what I mentioned, 2U vaccine for malaria. It hasn't completely eradicated malaria, which is a huge problem right now, as it has caused a lot of death. But it still has saved millions of lives. And with genetic engineering, another way for cancer cure can also be found because of all the modern technology we have. And I guess that's it.
So how do you think genetic engineering could be used to cure cancer?
Because cancer is mostly to do with the genes and the DNA, as I've shown in this magical picture. So basically, with genetic engineering, maybe sometime in the future, but not now, maybe they could find a way to fix this damaged DNA so cancer could actually be cured in a way which is 100% efficient and effective, rather than resorting to vaccines, because as you may have heard, some people are anti-vaccine because of the chemicals it may contain. So genetic engineering is a better way to help cure these diseases.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alex. I guess we can all come to a conclusion that medicine has significantly